Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bill Has Opinions, a drinking show with a Halloween problem. I'm Laura Lavoie, and I'm here with Bill Perkins, who has opinions.
Hi there.
You were possessed by the devil.
Good evening. Yes, that was. I was laughing at that graphic as the show started because it's my first time seeing it, and it was deliciously evil.
I never show Bill any of the graphics ahead of them going live.
She likes to watch my reaction.
Yeah, I think the reaction is the best part of it. And also, I wanted to do this show in the dark because of but then I couldn't read the notes. So I did. I turned off all the lights, and I'm like, well, that's not going to work.
It's not going to work for me.
What does that say? So
it's like when you go to a really dimly lit restaurant, so you can't see the bug problem.
Exactly. And I'm like, I could just use a flashlight on my phone, but that wouldn't solve it either because I'd be like this.
Well, but then if we did the phone flashlight thing, right, then we could
just
at least
hold it up to our faces.
Yeah, we could do the monster lighting, right? Like that would be fun.
I don't know. We've got a few more.
Ooh, spooky! You know,
we've got a few more Halloween themed episodes coming up.
We'll do it next time.
We'll do something next time.
All right.
I think. All right. So anyway, hi. How are you?
I'm okay.
That's.
Good
to hear.
I think so. Yeah. It's good to be back in person.
Yes.
It's been lonely for a few weeks, you know.
I totally hear you. I am very glad to be back up and running. So that is why I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah.
That has happened. We're back.
Yeah.
We're back and we're feeling okay. And it's fall. So I don't think either of us have anything to complain about.
No, we love fall. Both of us. We've established that.
Yes.
This is our autumn, whichever you want to call it.
Many episodes worth of autumn content.
Yes.
Many. Except, I see you playing with my bottle opener, which is purely a Christmas. I'm ahead by a season.
Okay. I wasn't really looking at the pun on it. I was just enjoying the solid feel of it.
Yeah,
this is a good solid. Yeah. This is a good honking bottle opener here.
That's our favorite. We got it at Christmas time last year, and now I use it for everything.
It's my favorite. It's got an old school kind of. I like it. It's good stuff. If you see one like this, you should buy it and throw it in your drawer. Because I've got the one on my keychain, which works, but it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to use. You know,
sure.
It's like this Sasquatch. I guess I left the keys in the car.
That's good.
Yeah. Hopefully nobody steals the car. But it's a Sasquatch, and you can actually. It's got two places. You can either use his hand or his foot to open the bottle, but you know.
Yeah, I think there's too I like to have one on my keychain for emergency beer.
Sure, yeah, that's what that is. It's the emergency beer opener. Yes, exactly. It doesn't necessarily have to be the best beer opener.
Right.
It's what you have on you, right?
It'll open a beer. And I'm not the person that uses a lighter. Also, I don't have a lighter on me. I know people that just do the tabletop thing. You know what? When I'm
in a pinch, like if I'm in a hotel room and I've forgotten and I don't have my keys on me or whatever, I actually use the door jamb to the bathroom because you can stick a bottle in the door latch,
right?
And pop it. Although you have to do it kind of like sideways, so you end up spilling like a little bit of beer. It's not ideal, but in a pinch, it works.
Yeah, but it's nice to have a good at-home beer opener.
That's what I'm saying. That's a good at-home beer opener.
I'm certainly not going to carry this around with me.
Yeah, that'd be weird. But
funny though. But speaking of beer, what are you drinking? I
am finishing up a Boojum Oktoberfest.
Yum.
And prior to that, I had a High Wire, red lager. It was all right. I didn't love it. That was something I was trying out, and
sure,
I probably won't buy a second one. I like some red lagers and some I don't. You know, it's hit and miss with me. That one was a little too caramelly, but I thought, I felt because it's a red and a brown and a Marzen are kind of all in the same, general. They didn't have a lot of good fall selection in the make your own 6-pack this week at the Ingles. This Boojum was the only official Oktoberfest, and there were no pumpkin beers at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was just trying to make a thing out of a thing. After I finish this, I've got a Evening Joe from Catawba, which is their coffee blonde.
Yeah.
You know,
we actually we were watching football at our neighbor's house, and their friend Joe came over, and he brought an Evening Joe.
Oh, okay. So did he come over in the evening?
No, it was during the day for football.
He was mid-afternoon Joe.
It was mid-afternoon Joe with the Evening Joe. I mean, at some point he would have been Evening Joe.
Sure, yeah,
so,
when he was leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
Good evening, Joe. See ya.
Bye. Yeah, well, so I'm doing the same thing. I don't have a ton of very specific fall beers, but this one I like to drink in the fall and winter, so it's just the Gaelic ale.
The regular
the red ale from Highland.
Right.
It's a good fall and winter beer. And then after that, I do have me an Oktoberfest from Bell's. Yes. Okay. So we mentioned it in our last show, and now I can't unsee it. Now every time I look at an Oktoberfest, I'm like, is there blue?
Is there? Yeah.
Is there blue? And
right.
This one is
not,
no blue.
Actually, I noticed that most of the ones out of the Midwest are orange. Founders is orange.
Bell's is orange.
Bell's is orange. Wait, your Great Lakes.
Yeah, Great Lakes was blue.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. But all the local ones around Asheville, I think, are, aside from Clawhammer, is orange.
Yeah.
But the rest of them all seem to be the blue checker thing.
So it seems to me like people want to do. There's Tapestry also has a blue one.
Oh, okay.
So it seems to me like people either do like German branding, like this should look like the German flag, or fall branding.
Right.
Like, so it's orange or it's blue.
It's the Bavarian flag, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's fair. That's fair. The German flag is not, but the Bavarian flag is.
Yeah.
So, yes. Yes. All right. So there's beers. So what are we actually talking about today?
Oh, we're talking about legends that take place in areas with high population density.
What is that? Is that urban areas?
I guess so, yeah. Is it just code, or is it just code for like what we really mean is black legends, but we don't want to say black, so we say urban. Yes. These are urban legends.
Urban legends. Actually, I have no freaking idea why. I should have looked this part up. Why it's called urban legends.
We should have looked this up. Yeah. Because I actually feel like half of these are actually rural legends.
A lot of them are.
Or even suburban legends.
Right. So, but of course the actual, I guess, definition of urban legend is that it's modern folklore. And modern can mean a lot of things. There were some legends that came up like, in the 1700s, 1800s at the time were new to them.
Yeah.
But they were modern folklore. They wouldn't be that now.
I got you.
So they're usually rooted in local history or pop culture, and you'll see several examples of that. And many of them, but not all, involve something supernatural or alien. But a lot of them are morality tales, like they're supposed to have some sort of lesson.
Right, yeah. I don't know what the lesson always is, though.
Some of them.
I feel like the lesson is you should be scared.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all there is to it. It's like here's a thing that you should worry about.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you my earliest, because this is usually a thing you ask me at some point, so I'm just going to go ahead and get to it.
All right, we'll just get right to it.
My earliest urban legend I remember my grandmother telling me. I was going to Carowinds, which for those not to know, if you're not from around these parts, Carowinds is the amusement park in North or South Carolina. It's the big amusement park. It's your Six Flags or what have you.
Right.
I was going there. And my grandmother said, hey, be careful now, because I heard a kid got bitten by a water moccasin on the log flume ride. And, I mean, I was like 8 years old, and at first I was like, well, that's disconcerting. And then I was like, wait a minute, like that sounds like bullshit. Like, that doesn't sound like something I don't think a snake would get on the log flume, because snakes, they don't like cold, and they don't like people. Those are two things snakes don't like.
Right.
And so I felt like this actually really doesn't sound truthful to me at all. And then that one actually that same the snake on the log flume ride later on became the snake in the ball pits at the McDonald's. This child was playing in the ball pit at McDonald's, and then turns out they were getting like bit up by like baby copperheads or something. Again, a snake ain't gonna hang around in a fucking McDonald's. Like, not gonna happen. Don't worry about it. There's a lot of reasons not to let your child in the ball pit, and they're all human related. Okay,
right?
Like, you don't want to know what goes on in the ball pit.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's because it's crawling with toddlers, and they're fucking disgusting.
They're sticky at best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But at worst, they're full of pee and poo and snot and vomit and all that. Like, they don't clean the ball pit. Like, it doesn't happen.
No. Well, I mean, yeah. How do you even clean a ball pit?
I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, if you're a germaphobe, I'll stay out of the ball pit. There's reasons to stay out of the ball pit, but copperheads aren't one of them.
But therein lies the morality tale, I guess.
It's like, if you don't want trouble, don't get in the ball pit.
Exactly. Or your grandma just didn't want you to ride the log flume for some reason.
She didn't have to worry. It wasn't even a ride I was interested in. Like, honest to God, I didn't ride a log flume until I was 16.
Yeah, no, I don't.
And not because I was scared of snakes, but just because it didn't look like something I wanted to do. You know,
yeah, no,
I don't like walk. Well, I don't like. A, I didn't like sudden drops, and B, I didn't like walking around in wet trousers all afternoon. So there were two reasons not to get on the log flume ride.
That's fair. That's completely fair. So, technically, the tale worked for you, just not in a way that it was intended.
But I mean, yeah. But at the same time, like I said, I knew it was bullshit. Like, even as a young child, I could smell bullshit when it was presented to me. So that's, I guess, one of the big things about urban legends is there's probably a fair amount of bullshit involved.
Exactly.
Also, right?
And most of them are some level of of their folklore, their modern folklore. So there might be a hint of like history or a hint of reality in it, but most of the time they're just stories to scare us, you know, like whatever the reason is, and to scare us. It brings me the difference between a urban legend and like an old wives' tale. Like, old wives' tales are also bullshit. Yeah. But they don't have that creepy component.
Yeah, they're not trying to scare you into something. They're just like, I don't know what the point is. It's just like some kind of like arcane knowledge that
somehow old women had in the olden days,
I guess.
But they were also mostly bullshit.
Yeah, because it'd always be like, I remember there was one, like, if you had heartburn when you were pregnant, that your kid was going to be redheaded or some shit like that. Like,
which seems to be like that would be something that's common in pregnancy.
Yeah. So I don't think that many redheaded kids. I mean, like, the ginger population stays about the same percentage, does it not?
Yeah, actually, it does. It sure does.
And yet everyone still has heartburn. So,
well, there's always the ones that have a hint of truth, right? You know, don't go outside without a coat on, or you'll catch your death of cold. That's not how you catch a cold, because it's a virus. But
you might die of hypothermia.
Yeah, I mean, there are other reasons not to go out without your coat on.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that, you know, and I used to work with this old lady. I mean, she was past retirement age. When I say old lady, so I'm not exaggerating. Like, she should have retired, but she had gotten so I worked for a big national bank, and it as they do, it had gobbled up several smaller regional banks.
Right.
And she grew up in Philadelphia, but she had moved to Charlotte because her bank in Philadelphia had gotten gobbled up by the Charlotte Bank, which is Charlotte's actually where most of the large national banks are headquartered.
Right.
Anyhow, at the time it gobbled up the bank in the Mid-Atlantic. I think they were trying to get rid of some employees, and one of the ways they did that was they said, "Hey, we got a job for you, sure, but it's in Charlotte, North Carolina." And she was one of the people who called their bluff and was like, "Okay, then,
yeah,
I'll take your job in Charlotte, North Carolina." And so she moved to Charlotte, and she found out that in Charlotte the housing market was way favorable compared to Philadelphia. So she bought a way larger house than she would have never been able to own in Philadelphia. And then retirement age came, and she was like, she didn't really want to downsize,
Right.
And so she kept working because she liked having that large house. So that was what was going on there. But anyway, sorry, that's aside from the point. That has nothing to do with the urban legend. The urban legends is every time I would come into work during the wintertime, and I mean, to be fair, Charlotte winters are fairly mild.
Right.
I would come in and it'd be like 45 degrees or something, and she'd be like, "You didn't wear a coat. You're gonna catch another cold." And I'm like, I had to walk 2 blocks from the car. I mean, I'm not gonna freeze to death in 2 blocks.
And 40-degry weather.
Yeah, like no, it has to get like a good 20 for me to give a shit about wearing a coat for 2 blocks.
Right. Right. I have to be pretty fucking cold for that to happen.
For 2 blocks. Again, like I know I'm leaving the car with a heater and going to the building with a heater. All that's going to happen is I'm going to leave a coat at work. That's not
exactly.
So that's the reason I don't wear them, because I'm like, I don't want to fucking leave my coat at work, because on the weekend I might actually want my coat. Like so.
All right. So we've determined what urban legends are. So let's do a real quick, because we like to say nice things about our friends.
Sure.
Let's say a nice thing about our friends.
Hi, friend.
So we hadn't done this one in a while. Radiant Paws Pet Massage in Metro Detroit, out of Ferndale, Michigan. So in the surrounding areas. So pamper your pets. It's coming up in the holiday season, right?
Yeah.
So
if you're looking for what can you get your pet for a present for the holidays?
A massage.
Why not give them a massage or a gift certificate for a massage that they can cash in the future? Know.
Yes, and not just pets. Your pet loving friends.
Oh yeah, that too.
You can buy them.
If you have human friends, I suppose you could also.
If you happen to have human friends.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, who has human friends? Also, I meant to bring it in here and I forgot, so it's too late now. But I actually got a package in the mail today from Jill of Radiant Paws. She was at an art fair like a weekend or 2 ago and found Sphinx cat art.
Oh, more Sphinx cat art.
Hairless cat art. So I collect it and everyone keeps sending it to me. So it's very cute.
Okay.
So I thought we'd say hi to Radiant Paws Pet Massage. So check them out online and pamper your pets. Do nice things. Yeah.
Hey, and speaking of pets, I heard this story about this person who they came in to their house and they heard a noise. They're trying to get ready for bed, and they were like, they heard a noise and they thought maybe it was somebody's like knocking around in the house, but they stuck their hand down there by the bed and the dog licked their hand. They were like, oh, thank God the dog's still here. So I guess if anything comes in here, the dog will bark. And then in the morning they woke up and everybody in the house was murdered. And there was a note that said, people can lick too.
Yeah.
The dog was also murdered, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I figured the dog was also murdered.
The dog's the first to go. They'll murder the dog before they murder the black person in a movie, usually.
Well, the dog makes a lot of noise. You want to stop
you want to stop that. Actually, if there's a ghost of a witch in your house, the ghost of the witch will kill the dog to keep the dog from noticing anything spooky is going on.
Yeah.
That's a thing I've noticed.
You've noticed that.
It's happened several times. No, not.
Your dogs. No dogs were harmed in the making of this urban legend.
No, yeah, I mean because urban legends are bullshit. Ergo, no dog was harmed. Yeah.
So real quick, we've got one from another one from you.
All right. Yeah.
But real quick before we do that, I want to talk about a website called Creepypasta.
Okay.
Right, so urban legends have taken on a whole new level since the advent of the internet.
Sure, yeah.
And there's a website called Creepypasta where people can tell scary stories. Like that's the point.
Yeah.
But part of the problem is they're uncopyrighted, completely just internet available stories. So they keep getting retold over and over again as if they're real.
Mm-hmm.
And we have got actually a couple interesting examples coming up later, but. So sometimes now it's even harder to determine fact from fiction because there's all this creepypasta.
And it becomes this, and like anything on the internet, there becomes this like feedback loop of if you try to track it out of the source, this points to that and that points to that. And if you go far enough, it'll come back around.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's like, oh my God, like this is, but speaking of because I know we have a lot of viewers from the Michigan area.
From where?
you know,
from what part of the country?
The Midwest.
The Midwest?
Yeah. So I want to talk about this because this is an urban legend of both the Midwest and of it's Midwest up through the Great Lakes area up into, I guess, Lower Canada and like New York State, that whole region there.
Right.
And it's a creepypasta thing that I became aware of because my kids told me about it several years ago. There's this thing called the rake. Have you heard of this? The rake?
No.
So it's this it's sort of a humanoid looking thing, but it's sort of like crab walks around.
Okay. That looks like the shit out of me.
It looks like Nosferatu on all fours, kind of.
Oh, that would scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not sleeping tonight. I hope everybody knows that. That's just not happening.
I will say, I'm not going to tell you much about it aside from what I told you already. But if you want a good scare, look up the rake, and it's spelled like the garden tool.
Sure.
On Creepypasta or on YouTube, or put like rake sightings.
Yeah, now just Google
the rake sightings.
Yeah.
Or something like that, and you will see there's actually some compelling. I mean, they're probably faked video. I don't believe in it, but at the same time, the videos will raise the hair on the back of your neck. So there's a thing, yeah. Yeah. No, that is, that is kind of the thing about them. In fact, let's jump ahead. We're going to get back to, I've got you on the list next. All right. I have more notes for this show than I've ever had. Which is crazy. Well, because I got in deep with the research. Oh, you did? Okay. Like, man, this is cool. But so in a similar way to like that story, right? Yeah. So a couple of years ago, actually, it was 2016. Okay. You may remember this. Lots of people remember this. Let me actually pull up the picture. The creepy clown sightings. Do you remember the creepy clown sightings? I do remember that was a thing for a minute, yeah. So technically it was a hoax, but it was a hoax that got out of hand. It wasn't even a hoax, to be honest. It was a marketing for a low-budget horror movie. Oh, is that what it was? Yeah, and so... Okay, I never really knew what the onus on it was, what the reasoning was. I just thought it kind of like... I thought somebody did a thing, and then other people who were into the idea of clowns being creepy just kind of like took it and ran with it. I think that's exactly what happened. It just became a viral, like prank kind of. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it started out in Green Bay, Wisconsin for this low-budget horror movie that was probably locally, filmed and created. Yeah. And his name was Gags the Clown. And actually, I don't even know if Gags the Clown was a real clown. Like, that's just what people started calling him. Okay. I don't even know what the horror movie was. Like, nobody knows any of that. Huh. But the problem So it was a shitty marketing ploy. It was a very shitty Because I haven't seen the movie, and neither of you. Exactly. But then sightings happened all over the country. Yeah. I remember it caught on, and it was all over the place. And then at some point, I remember several municipalities kind of issuing a thing like, "Hey, don't be out wearing clown outfits." Yeah, exactly. Or, exactly. You will, you're gonna get eventually somebody's gonna get hurt and it's gonna be bad. And right, but so the funny part is most of the reporting sightings involved no actual clowns. There were a lot of reported sightings, but no clowns. So there weren't even a circus nearby. Not even, and it happened in multiple states. But most were either debunked or ended up in arrests for false reporting. Oh, really? That's my favorite part of that story. This is an urban legend that got so out of hand that people were arrested for saying they saw a clown. You saw a bench in front of the McDonald's and it has a fiberglass clown sitting on it. Well, and apparently many of these reports were just, haha, saw a clown, haha. And then, there was never a clown. Right. Okay. People were just reporting it because they thought it was funny. That's illegal, folks. Don't do that. Don't call the police about nothing. Yeah, don't do that. I mean, unless you're some sort of anarchist and you just want to fuck with the police. But well, you'll still get arrested. Caveat, you might want to do that from a payphone and then run. I don't know. Good luck finding a payphone. Yeah, I actually saw one. Oh my God! Like 2 weeks ago, I was driving to Washington D.C. and we stopped in a small town in Virginia at a gas station, and there was a payphone out front, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like that, I haven't seen one of those in ages. I don't believe it. I think that's an urban legend. Yeah, it's probably made up. Yeah, you made that up for sure. All right, so you had a classic. I did, yeah. I believe it's a classic. Yeah. This actually happened to me too. Well, it didn't happen to me, but it happened to my cousin's girlfriend's mother. She was driving home late one night, right?
Right.
And she's crossing this bridge, and it was on a rainy night, and she sees this girl on the side of the road. And so she picks her up, because she's like, "Why are you on the side of the road?" And the girl's like, "Oh, my car broke down back there, and I need to ride home." So she gives her a ride home, and the girl's like, soaking wet and stuff. So the woman like lends her cardigan, right? And she drives her home, drops her off at this house that she tells her to take her to, and she she doesn't think about it until later that she lost her cardigan. So she comes by 2 or 3 days later, to see if she can get her cardigan back. And when she comes up to the house and knocks on the door, and this old lady answers, and she says, "Hey, is Julie here?" And the lady goes, "Oh, this again." She's like, "Listen, Julie's been dead, since 1962. Like, she died in a car accident on the old bridge." And the lady's like, "Huh, that's crazy." And she tells her like where Julie's buried.
Uh-huh.
She's at Oak Lawn Cemetery over there, and that's probably where your sweater is. And so the lady goes to Oak Lawn Cemetery, and sure enough, there's her sweater sitting on the old tombstone.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da. The funny thing about this story is this story happens everywhere. Like, no matter where you live, there's a version of this story. The Hitchhiker Ghost.
Yep.
I remember family members telling me specifically like what bridge the Hitchhiker Ghost would be on every time we crossed that bridge. And then later on, I learned that this was a thing that went on all over the country. That every bridge apparently is haunted by a ghost that hitchhikes and takes your sweater.
Right.
I wonder what happens to the people who don't give a fuck. Like, they're like, "I can live without the sweater. I don't give a fuck." Like, so does when the person shows up, are they like 2 sweaters on the gravestone?
Also, like, what about you're just like, you see the girl on the side of the bridge, and you're like, "Fuck you, sucker."
Yeah, like, ain't my problem.
Like, do you get haunted at that point? Like, that seems like something that would be
right. Like, well, I don't like to get involved. It's not my thing.
But suddenly you don't know why you're haunted.
I could stop and pick her up, but it'd be creepy. Like, I'll let some lady pick her up. I don't.
Exactly.
If a dude stops and picks her up, that'd be creepy, right?
Exactly.
I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, of course.
Like, she's already creeped out enough. Her car wrecked, and she's on the bridge at night in the rain, and
Yeah, no, you don't want to.
Some dude pops up and is like, "Hey, baby, you want to ride?"
You definitely don't want to do that. So a lot of these stories have, kind of horror vibes, right?
Sure.
They're meant to be scary. And that's kind of why Creepypasta is kind of taken on a life of its own, right?
Yeah.
But here's one where that became scary kind of in real life, right? So Annabelle the Doll.
Yeah.
Right? So there was a doll in a house and the house had all kinds of creepy, scary, terrible things happening in it. And it became the thing that made famed ghost hunters, famed exorcists, Lorraine and Ed Warren famous. That's how they got their start. So they went into this haunted house.
This was the first thing? Was the Annabelle doll?
This was the first thing, yes.
Yeah.
So
I got my issue. So we could have a whole episode on the Warrens, by the way. Because again, because of my hatred for disinformation and horse shit.
May I have that?
Yeah. No,
and they really are. So most people know the Warrens. Oh, check out did you see the bottle cap?
That is a very cool bottle cap.
It's my new favorite bottle cap. I saved a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the
you should make magnets out of them.
I'm not going to do anything with
You're not going to do
I'm going to throw them away in like a week.
Yeah.
Like, why did I
But they're going to clutter up your kitchen
Anyways,
for the meantime.
so here's the thing about there have been horror movies made about Annabelle.
Oh, there's a whole series of horror movies based on the Warrens shit.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's a movie based on Annabelle specifically. So here's where my visual aid comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the movie Annabelle, like super scary, creepy doll, like
it's like a
dolls.
ventriloquist dummy with a like taken to the nth degree of scary
and like corporeal, like totally animated, like is a doll that can physically manifest in the. So you want to know what the real fucking doll was?
I mean, I'm aware, but it's,
I know, but really, It's a fucking Raggedy Ann.
It's a Raggedy Ann. Which is like the least scary fucking. Although I will say, if you want to hear a good scary doll story, you know about Robert the Doll.
Yes, I actually almost put this down, but yes.
Although I don't want to talk shit about Robert the Doll because you shouldn't even you should never look at a picture of Robert the Doll. Nope. And you shouldn't talk about Robert.
Nope,
As a matter of fact, Robert the Doll. I'm sorry for mentioning your name.
Yeah.
Good day, sir.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. If you want to do your own research, more power to you. I actually did come across that doll in my research, and I'm like, nope, nope. If I'm going to sleep for the next week, that's not happening. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
So, for sure. So, I just thought the Annabelle, so obviously that became an urban legend that took on like a whole new life because it totally got blown out of proportion.
Oh, yeah.
And these people are just complete hoaxers that go into houses and like they made shit tons of money defrauding. They did. People.
Oh, and so I don't want to go too deep into it, but these are the same people involved who were involved in the Amityville Horror. And just to briefly break that shit down for you, in case you aren't aware, that was basically a real estate fraud. What happened was the people who moved into the house were basically underwater in their mortgage, realized they couldn't afford the house. At the same time, the lawyer for the previous tenant, who was the one who murdered his whole family, had an angle where he was going to like pitch satanic possession as his like why he should get off. And he came to them and said, "Hey, what do you think about this? Like, if the house is possessed or whatever, can you say that like the house is haunted? Then you win, we win, everybody wins." And the Warrens came in and kind of verified, "Yeah, the house is haunted like crazy.
Sure
like, oh my god, it's crazy scary in there." And then it turns out like nobody who's lived there since that family moved out has ever said a damn thing ever happened. Like there have been 10 tenants since then. Nobody's ever had a single issue with the house, except for the fucking line of cars that park out front. Right. In which case, actually, now the house no longer has those half circle windows because they took them out so that the house wouldn't be so recognizable.
Right.
And that's the biggest issue, though, that anybody since that family that claims that there was like a pig demon living there has ever had in the place. So all horseshit again. And the Warrens were at the heart of it. Like they were the ones who like backed up the whole fucking story because they just like to, they wanted to be involved in a thing and get their name in the paper.
They're hucksters. I mean, they were getting paid for these things, and they made a whole career out of it, and it's all bullshit. So we could talk, but like you said, we could have a whole.
I could talk about the Warrens all day,
but so like Annabelle though, kind of this like spooky, scary thing that happens.
Oh yeah,
I don't have it. So. One thing I think we all did as kids, well, I didn't because I was terrified of my own shadow.
Okay.
But I was familiar with it. I wasn't going to deal with this bullshit. Like, I'm like, no, I'm not the one that's going to call this demon. Oh. It's not happening. Bloody Mary.
Oh, yeah. Actually, this is a true story. There's a bar here in Asheville that if you go into it and you look in the mirror behind the bar and you say Bloody Mary 3 times, you will get 3 disgusting tomato drinks.
I mean, that's most bars, isn't it? That's like all bars.
I mean, if there's a mirror behind the bar.
Well, it's so awesome, right? The legend is, and it's really like a slumber party thing,
it's a total slumber party joke.
To scare your friends who are easily scared, which was me.
Yeah, you were that person. You were the target.
Yeah, except I didn't play that bullshit. Even like at 7, I'm like, I am playing that bullshit.
No, and the story I heard was. You would go into the bathroom and you would say Bloody Mary 3 times, and then this apparition would appear, and then she would slice off a body part. Is that what you heard?
No. So
you
are much more polite in the Midwest.
Oh yeah, no. In the South we mean business. Like in this shit, she would. So my stepsister's cousin's best friend went and did it, and she ended up like they cut her foot off at the ankle. Yeah.
Oh, that's bad. I hope she recovered. Okay.
Well, I mean, but she had a limp.
Well, did she get a wooden foot? Like
something like that.
Did she actually? Did she get a hook for a foot?
Yeah.
But when
she had a hook for a foot, and then she escaped from an asylum, and then she forevermore would pester kids who were necking out by the old asylum.
Yep.
Well, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that in just a second. I just want to one more point about the Oops. Accidentally. Yes. Yes. American Horror Stories. By the way, I watched the first season, the second season, third season, and then I literally couldn't watch anymore. Like that was it for me.
I've never watched it. I'm sort of tempted. My son goes on and on about it. He likes it a lot. And then after I went to New Orleans this past January, there were some stories that actually there was a house in New Orleans that I guess some stories were based on or something, and they actually filmed some scenes there or something like that. That
was probably, for my money, that was their best season.
Well, and to be fair, the stories that you hear about the house in New Orleans are mostly also BS.
Yeah,
all of them are. I went on a vampire and ghost tour, and I heard a lot of these stories, and then I was like, seems like that. And one of them took place like in modern times, and I was like, seems like that would be like they were news articles about that. So I went and looked them up, and like, nope, you can't corroborate it. It's horse shit.
Exactly,
it didn't happen.
But one more point about Bloody Mary. So the point is, you have to say her name 3 times.
Yeah,
is she fucking Beetlejuice? Like,
well, I think that's where Beetlejuice got that from.
I'm sure it was.
I think the Bloody Mary preceded Beetlejuice and Candyman. Like both of those.
Yeah. I don't even want to know, but I know that one's scary, and I don't even want to know about.
Well, that's just it's the same. You got to say the name 3 times or something. And
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, well, I mean,
I'm not.
If you say Candyman 3 times, Sammy Davis Jr. shows up.
Nice. If I could do an impression, I would right now, but I cannot. So that would have been my reaction. My natural reaction would have been a Sammy Davis Jr. Impersonation, but I'm not going to.
You don't have a Sammy Davis Jr. impersonation?
I do not.
Oh, that's too bad.
I have it in my head. It's in my head.
Okay,
but it would not translate.
Does he say "babe" at least?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, you get the whole facial, motion of Sammy Davis Jr. But like I said, I can picture it in my head. I'm just not going to do it.
You're not going to do it. You're not going to pull it off.
No, I wouldn't pull it off. It would be terrible. All right, speaking of hooks for feet.
Yeah.
For
foots. Hook foots.
So Hookman. Now, here's another one that got turned into a movie.
Yeah.
Into like a teen horror movie like a la Scream.
Yeah. Was this I know what you did last summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, this is an urban legend. This one is a true morality tale.
Yeah.
So a scary man, like wearing a fisherman's hat and an overcoat, has a hook for a hand. Backstory, escaped from an asylum, and he basically kills teenagers doing
her necking out by the on a makeout point or
wherever that is. So I think this story exists almost anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere where there's teenagers doing teenage stuff.
Which is anywhere.
It's everywhere. Like even if you pretend it's not.
Because teenagers are going to do teenage stuff, which is exploring each other's bodies. That's what teenagers do.
That's what you do. Yeah, for sure. And even I'd like to point out, abstinence only education people.
Yeah,
that shit doesn't work.
Yeah,
it does not work.
You think Hookman would actually be more efficient than abstinence education?
That's true.
Like that might scare more people out of having sex than telling you you're going to get an STD.
I guess that was kind of the point, right?
I think it kind of was, and I think honestly that's actually the origin of the vampire story too. Is a little bit. A little bit was to spook. Watch out who you're fucking around with, because he's going to try and get some shit over on you. Because dudes are how they are, and and I don't want to be sexist, but dudes are kind of how they are.
Well,
they do be like that.
I mean, the truth,
teenage dudes.
We've also now had there was a time where women were young girls and women were punished.
Sure,
but there's the same growth of development.
I'm glad that time has passed.
Yeah, well,
thank God those days are over.
Oh, I'm so glad that women are considered fully functional human beings.
Yeah, they're not property or anything anymore.
Don't worry about that. Women are not allowed to have, are totally allowed to have, consensual
sexual agency.
Yeah,
if you will.
Totally fine. That is where we are as a culture.
Yeah, I'm glad it's like Star Trek times now, and we're past all that.
Yes. All right, so here's a really interesting one that I found.
Okay, what's that?
The song "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins?
I have heard this one. Yes.
So "In the Air Tonight," which probably features one of the coolest fucking drum solos ever in the history of music.
Absolutely.
so there's a prevailing urban legend that it's based on a drowning incident in which someone close enough to save the victim couldn't help them. But Phil Collins witnessed the whole thing.
Wait, was he the person who saw it?
He was the person who saw it. He saw that there was somebody.
Wait, so is he
was a third observer.
Okay, so he was watching the watcher. He was,
basically, yeah. So that is the story,
and that's where I know it's because of the line. I was there and I saw what you did. I saw it with my own two eyes. I know what you did. It's all been a pack of lies, or whatever the hell the line is. Anyway,
yes. So it says. So the legend says. Well, not the legend. The description of the legend. Increasingly embellished variations on the legend emerged over time, with stories often culminating in Collins singling out the guilty party while singing the song in concert.
Yeah. He has the spotlight shine on them in the concert. Right. Like, I know you did it. You did it. It's like a Perry Mason thing. Like,
exactly.
Like, admit it. You did it. Like, you're damn right I did. I ordered the code red.
Well, and here's the crazy part. People keep asking Phil Collins about this.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
He's like, what a bunch of horse shit. It's just a song, man. Get over it.
Well, and he says, so people ask him, and he's like, no, of course not. But it became kind of a telephone game. Like, it would keep getting back to him when this happened. But he says even he doesn't know what the song was about. He wrote it when he was going through a divorce, and it was just like an angry, sad song.
Yeah.
Like, it
with
had
a cool drum.
Yeah, with a sweet-ass drum fill. Like, for people who don't know, Phil Collins got to start as a drummer.
Yeah, no, he's so good. In fact, that after Robert Plant was solo artist, his first couple albums, Phil Collins was the drummer on that.
Yes,
and Robert Plant knew a thing or two about having a good drummer.
Yeah,
FYI,
a couple of things about that.
Also, I want to throw this out there while we're on Phil Collins. Also, I don't know if you know or familiar, but so after ABBA broke up, one of the female members of ABBA put out a solo album, and there's a song called "I Know There's Something Going On," and that's totally Phil Collins. It's got a hella good drum beat. It's all Phil Collins. He actually produced the song, but he's also the drummer on it. God, what was? But she didn't go by because I remember I think she went by Anna or something when she was in ABBA, but then she switched and it was something with an F now after she went solo. It was her middle name, or maybe it was her first name and she had gone by her middle. I don't know. Some shit. Anyway, I know there's something going on. You listen to the song, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's Phil Collins, all right.
Right.
Anyway, that's one of my favorite tunes to throw on a playlist.
Oh yeah, Matt's excited that you threw out a John Bonham reference. I mean, arguably the best drummer in history.
He's in the top three. I actually think Keith Moon and then Phil Collins and then Bonham, personally.
I also have to throw Neil Peart in that, but that's another show.
We can talk about. We have to do a drummer show now.
We should now. We'll
or maybe not just drummers. We'll do our top like bassist, drummers, all the things.
That's a good idea. We'll put it on the list. Slot that in for January. All right, sure. Yeah. All right. But my favorite part about the Phil Collins story is it is actually part of the lyrics of the song "Stan" by Eminem. In that song, he referenced it and quote, "You know the song by Phil Collins, 'In the Air of the Night.'" He actually says it wrong. In the song, the actual lyrics of "Stan" is wrong. You know that song by Phil Collins, "In the Air of the Night," about the guy who could have saved the other guy from drowning, but didn't, and then Phil saw it all, and then at a show he found him? Like, that's part of the lyrics. So now this entire story
it's got referenced into another thing.
It's pop culture reference to pop culture. So
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
While we're on Rockstar Urban Legends, real quick, Rod Stewart passed out on stage and threw up, and for some reason they took his throw up and they analyzed it, and it was full of sperm. Did you ever hear this one?
Thank God.
Did you ever hear this one?
No, but I'm not surprised based on who it is.
No, actually, sometimes it's not Phil Collins. Sometimes it's like it's Mick Jagger or some other 70s pop star.
Sure.
But it's most often
Rod Stewart
for some reason, which who's never in my memory actually been even like mildly bisexual, like Mick or Bowie or Freddie Mercury all make more sense, right?
But it sounds that's just that urban legend is about we don't like the gays. Like, that's what that is.
Sure, yeah. I remember hearing it when I was like 7 or 8 like, and I didn't think anything about it until later on in life. I was like, why would anyone analyze someone's puke? I mean, unless like it just doesn't make any fucking sense, Like, that's dumb as shit.
It does not make any sense. I actually don't have this one. So the Rockstar Urban Legends about Zozo. I don't have that one.
What is this about? The name of the Led Zeppelin 4 album?
Yeah, you're gonna have to enlighten us.
Fill us in, man.
I know that there was a thing, but I don't know what it was.
I know it's 4 different stupid runes.
Yeah,
and
made up.
Is it like the name of a wizard? Is that what you mean? I've heard a lot of theories, but most often people just refer to that album as 4. So I don't know.
While we see if there ends up being a follow up on that, let's keep going because
let's move on. Yeah.
Well, real quick just a real quick mention: aliens become a pretty popular urban legend. Yeah. Right. And obviously, you've got all the abduction ones, and it's nice. Okay, he's a demon. That makes sense. So if you do a Ouija board, you'll get Zozo. Oh,
I thought it was Captain Howdy. That's the one I talked to. I don't know what you're talking to, but okay.
Right. Also, by the way, Ouija boards, I have a hard time believing that, like, Milton Bradley can tap into the unknown.
I mean, it's mildly based on a previous thing, but even that thing is not terribly arcane. It's from the late 1800s when spiritualism was a big deal,
right?
Which was kind of a fad, also. So it's like, whatever. I still wave that off as like, it's as occult as fucking Wiccan, honestly, which is also has no fucking
I can
trace back.
As you know, I can talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
So for sure, but yes, it's not a level of occult that is. It's Milton Bradley.
It's Milton Bradley, and the only thing you're tapping into is capitalism.
That's true.
They made $25 selling you a dumb Ouija board.
That's true. All right, real quick though, quick mention of alien urban legends.
Yeah.
Probably the 2 most popular were Men in Black.
Yeah.
Which of course they made a movie out of.
Right.
But basically, the big thing on that is, of course, you don't know when you've talked to aliens because there's a whole group of people with mind erasers that
come around and
they
chit-chat with
stop you from remembering.
Right. What you saw was nothing more than the planet Venus.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, Area 51 in Roswell, which in Roswell itself has become like they have bars.
The entire city of Roswell capitalizes on the whole thing.
But it's basically a secret government plot to deny the existence of aliens.
Yeah, you remember that? Was it like a year or 2 ago when everybody was like, all these kids were going down there? They were going to like rush Area 51.
Yeah. They were going to. Whatever happened to that?
I don't know. I guess I guess nobody got shot to death because that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
They just let them all in and say, "Look, there's no UFOs," and they're like, "Okay, well, fair enough."
Exactly. So
turns out all we got here is a secret.
Also the Warrens would tell you not to play with the Ouija board, but that's because they're full of bullshit.
Yeah, they just wanted to like they probably had stock in Ouija board.
Yeah, look,
honestly,
I believe in ghosts, and I have terrible nightmares, and I get really scared from things, and I still don't believe Ouija boards are real.
Yeah,
like there's just no way they do not. All right. So here's some things that like Creepypasta sort of came into being.
Yeah.
This one started a couple of years ago. And
I remember this one.
As I researched it gets
What
our light just went. I told you I'm not sleeping.
You're messing with stuff you shouldn't be messing with, Laura.
We're talking about things we shouldn't talk about. How did that light go off?
I mean, I don't know.
I didn't touch it. Okay, all right. Okay, probably shouldn't talk about this then, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
So as I researched this, it got weirder and weirder. Like even the things we thought we knew about it weren't things we knew about it.
Okay, I don't know if I knew that much about it, except for like my kids went on and on about it for a minute.
Right.
And typically anything my kids go on about, I just am like, you kids and your shit,
All right, so I'm going to put up this image. This image terrified me when it first came out, but we're going to put it up.
Yeah.
All right, so it's the Momo challenge.
Yeah.
I can't leave this up for very long. I will tell you.
It just freaks you the fuck out.
It does. I do not like that image. But so it was a hoax and internet urban legend, rumored to spread through social media and other outlets. And what was reported was that children and adolescents were being enticed by a user named Momo to perform a series of dangerous tasks, including violent attacks, self-harm, and suicide. And despite claims that the phenomenon had reached worldwide proportions in July of 2018, the number of actual complaints was relatively small, and no law enforcement agency has confirmed that anyone was harmed or died for direct result.
So this was something I heard from one of my stepdaughters, who is kind of a drama queen and tends to, like, if she hears something like this, she's one of the people who like blows it out of proportion. Yeah. And she told me about it and how horrible it was, and how it was like you would start watching a benign like toy video or something, and then at some point Momo would pop up and go, "Kill yourself!"
Right?
Why don't you? Right. You know, and kids would be like, "Oh, well, the scary thing told me to kill myself, so I might as well do it."
I guess I should. So obviously, it did not happen like the way people thought it did. But here's the part that gets weird for me.
Okay.
So I remember when this all happened, and then people were talking about that sculpture that was Momo. That early news reporting stating the image of Momo was a sculpture by Japanese artist Midori Hayashi, it turned out to be incorrect. Hayashi indicated that was not her piece, and the internet identified Link Factory, a Japanese special effects company, as the correct author of the sculpture. The problem is that sculpture does not exist. So that's where it got weird for me. Then I'm like, nope.
So there's no origin of Momo. It just kind of is a thing.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. It's gone. Apparently, if it existed, it's gone.
If you see a video with, it's my understanding though, if you see a video with Momo, after you see it, like you'll get a phone call, and it'll just be like, and within 7 days, if you don't make someone else watch a video with Momo, then you will die. Right?
Exactly.
That's what I hear.
Yes. I mean, yes, that's exactly correct.
Seems reasonable to me.
Seems legit. Now, here's another one that started out on the internet that did result in some pretty terrible stuff.
Yeah, this actually did. This is like a case of life imitates art.
Yeah, exactly. So, Slenderman. So if you're not familiar with Slenderman, here's an image of Slenderman. I can also not leave this up for very long. I will not sleep tonight.
Yeah. I've seen Slenderman at Dragon Con before.
Oh, yeah. Lots of people will do the cosplays of Slenderman. So it started as a Photoshop challenge on Something Awful, the website, in 2009. So it's truly just Photoshop. Like somebody put a creepy Slender Man in old timey photos.
Right.
And like it was totally a thing. Like it wasn't meant to be real.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, check out this creepy photo.
Exactly. But because that's Something Awful and like it took on a life of its own. And so it became what experts, I guess, are calling a highly collaborative urban legend. So it's taken on many forms. So it started out as this thing, but it's been regurgitated and like.
Yeah, there was a video game. I remember that.
I actually had the video game on my phone, and I tried to play it for like a.
You walk around the woods.
Yeah.
You had to like pick up these clues off of trees before the Slender Man got you, or something. You had to get like 9 clues before he got to you.
I did not make it very far, and then I could not.
I think I got like
anymore.
4, and then he got me.
I could not play.
I played it once or twice. I don't really like horror games either.
Yeah,
though. I'm not big on jump scares. Like
me neither.
Not my thing.
No.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets weirder, right? So this urban, it wasn't even really an urban legend. It was just a thing. Like it was a creepypasta. Like the people were, but it became so prevalent on the internet. In 2014, this is real. This actually happened. This isn't urban legend. This is totally real.
Yeah.
2 12-year-old girls held down and stabbed a classmate 19 times. And they said that Slenderman was the reason for the stabbing. And they had read about Slenderman online. So they had all these beliefs that they had to do this for Slenderman somehow.
Yeah.
Both of these girls were diagnosed with mental illnesses, but they were tried as adults. There's definitely prison sentences that absolutely happened. But the victim survived the attack. The victim actually lived.
Surprisingly, knife attacks, you're more likely to survive because people don't know how to hit you in the right organs to kill you.
Yeah, and I imagine a 12-year-old is particularly not good.
I've actually read this. Like you're more likely to survive. Like so, when people say like, in relation to the gun control argument, when people are like, you can kill people with a knife. Yeah, but it's a lot harder because you have to really you have to stab the shit out of a person and hit him just the right place to get him to die.
Right.
90% of knife victims wind up living because because they didn't actually hit like a vital organ or artery.
Right.
So yeah, you just wind up fucked up a little bit, you know?
Yeah. So, and like the girl that was stabbed, she was able to crawl to a road. Like this is true too. It was spotted by like either a passing cyclist or a person in a car, and that's how she survived. But yeah, no. So that is totally like some of these legends they're not benign. Like you can create something that creates this.
Well, I always think this actually, because I know a lot of people like we go back to the clown thing or Sasquatch or whatever. Sometimes people like think, oh, that's funny. I'll dress up as a clown or a Sasquatch and I'll go scare some people. But we live in the kind of country in the United States. I'm saying if you're in another country, then more power to you. But in this country, I don't really think pranking people with scary shit is a good idea because a certain percentage of our population is armed and will defend themselves with guns, So dressing up as a clown and scaring people is a good way probably to get yourself shot to death, honestly. That's the sad reality of the whole thing. It's one of those things whenever I watch these, you've probably seen these prank shows that are on the internet or on TV.
Yeah.
Whenever I see them, I'm like, oh, this was filmed in Europe.
Exactly.
where you don't have to worry about someone killing you for being a scary clown, because if you show up as in like South Florida and be like, I'm a scary clown, and then like bam, 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 and then now you're dead scary clown.
You're dead scary clown. You're just a regular person in a clown suit. Yeah, exactly. Like you are dead.
Yeah.
All right. So the last one, I'm not gonna. Well, I'll talk about this really quick.
Okay.
Similar to the ghost hitchhiker, the vanishing hitchhiker. The Woman in White exists across a lot of platforms.
I remember that one in Chicago when I lived there. There was a cemetery that supposedly you drove past and you'd see her,
And it started as Latin American folklore of a woman wandering the shore mourning her drowned children. She was called La Llorona. But it's become like, and then in any town that has a haunting, you're going to have a woman in something. Like we have a woman in pink here in Asheville, who apparently committed suicide at the Grove Park Inn.
And she's raising awareness for breast cancer.
Yes.
That's why she wears pink.
Yeah, for sure. So that happens a lot. But I won't go into, but you can hear woman in white or woman in whatever color anywhere.
Yeah.
But the last one I want to talk about, which was chain letters. So this has become illegal in the U.S. You can't do this. But chain letters.
I remember when they used to be a thing, though. I remember getting one back in the 80s. Or my mom getting one, and I read it and was like, wow, this is crazy,
And most of the time, they're just get-rich-quick schemes or pyramid scams, things like that.
Yeah.
But it crossed over into urban legends when letters would tell the recipient they needed to send their letters or something bad would happen. So, like, someone would die, or they would die, or blah, blah, blah.
They don't really say that something bad will happen now. They still happen on the internet, but now they say something like, do it so something good will happen.
Yes, yes.
They're more like, oh, if you forward this to 1,000 people, Bill Gates will give you a trip to Disneyland.
Yeah, that one, man.
That whole, yeah.
And they exist mostly now through social media.
And suckers will still forward it just on that chance. It's like they always have like an inkling that it's probably shit. But I'm going to forward it.
Yeah, Occam's razor, right? They're like, maybe it's real.
I'm like, but it's not.
Or Pascal's wager. Sorry, wrong wager.
Pascal's wager. Yes, exactly. Wager. Occam's razor would say this is horseshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pass it on by.
Pascal's waiver is, it may or may not be true, but just give it anyway.
Yeah, hedge your bets is essentially it. Yeah.
So actually sending them through email or through the U.S. mail is illegal in the U.S. You can't do that. Where it exists now is still on social media. Like the one that gets me, and oh my God, I can't believe people still do this. Starting today, Facebook owns all your photos. You have to post this today or Facebook will own everything you've ever posted ever. Like this.
Read the terms of agreement. You already signed off all your shit.
Yeah. And also, it doesn't exactly work like that. You can't just post a statement on your Facebook profile that nullifies anything. It just doesn't work like that. It won't work that way. Did I turn it off like no?
Maybe I don't know, but maybe that's what you did.
I don't know, but it did scare the shit out of me when
Occam's razor says that's what you did.
That's fair. That's fair.
The simplest answer is probably the right one, right?
But Pascal's wager says I have to turn it off.
Yeah, right? because it could be God or something.
Could be God. All right. We have pizza coming.
We do.
So we should probably wrap this up. And I
guess so.
I do know that we have things that are extra this week.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I'm going to talk about briefly white tears, or even white cis male tears, I guess, because it depends on the item. Okay, so the most recent thing was fucking, a large black woman played a flute and everybody got their panties in a wad over it. But prior to that, goddamn, She-Hulk. I feel like there was something else prior to, like, there have been 4 or 5 things.
It doesn't, all of them.
I don't know. Honestly, I'll say this. This is proof that I've actually weeded out the right number of people off my social media now, because I actually asked the question a week or two ago of someone like, hey, is this real?
Yeah.
Is this outrage real? Because I haven't actually seen any outrage. I feel like I just see people reacting to said outrage.
Right.
And then people will say, oh no, I have to tell you, their outrage is real.
Which could be an urban legend, but it isn't.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, you asked me, and then I sent you some stuff. I'm like, and here you go.
And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I guess I've just done the right amount of culling of my social media. So at this point, it's just an echo box, and I don't have to argue with people about dumb shit.
Right. Yeah, no, that was actually about Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
Yes.
That's right. That was the first one. Little Mermaid, and then the She-Hulk, and then the Lizzo playing the flute. But either way, it's people getting outraged about shit that, honest to God, is so trivial. Like, if this is all you got in your life to get outraged about, then you should, like, I don't know, find a fucking hobby, I guess, right? Like, and I told Laura, I don't know if you go back and watch all of our videos from forever. This is a taking away pleated pants level offense for white people.
Yeah,
like I think we should lose pleated pants forever,
because people are being mean to
people of color or other minorities because of nonsense. Like, fucking get over yourself. Who gives a shit what color a mermaid is, or who plays a goddamn crystal flute, or
trained flautist?
Yes,
played a flute.
Listen, I have a friend who's actually he's very into non-Western instruments, and also he's into historical instruments. Okay, and the flute she played is not even in the same
yeah, I read that.
Yeah, today. It's not even in the same
kind of flute that
a modern flute would be. So
yeah.
she knows a fucking enough to play an old school fucking flute that was like made in a different, like it's probably in a different octave, and it works on a different fucking level. And actually, I've seen the full video where she was actually taken back into the back at the Library of Congress. And before she even plays that, she plays like a wooden, like, baritone recorder from the 1500s or some shit like that. So she clearly fucking knows her shit. Like, knows what the fuck she's doing and can play all these goddamn things.
I would like to point out, you hand either of those instruments to, like, an average white guy.
Yeah.
They'd be like, honk,
it would be
honk.
Like, I'd be like the flutophone I got from the Cracker Barrel. That's all I can do with it. You know.
Well, I
couldn't even keep a snake from biting me with that fucking thing.
Yeah, that's true. No, I had read it to this point. I'd read a thing a little while ago that I can't remember the percentage, but like a ridiculous percentage of average men, like not tennis players, but average men, believe that they could get a point on Serena Williams.
Oh, goddamn.
And like just regular, like you,
I can't return.
You wouldn't, but
I wouldn't, because I can't return a volley.
Right,
I'd be lucky to return a single volley in a tennis match. I'm so uncoordinated; it won't happen.
She is likely the best tennis player of the modern era, man or woman, anybody. She is one of the very best players, and yet average men, like, I wish I had the confidence of an average white man.
Yeah,
like that is serious.
Absolutely, yes.
So
like I've actually seen a crochet sampler that said something like, "Lord grant me the confidence of the average white man."
Exactly. Exactly. So, folks, we didn't care what the fucking color of a mermaid is. Lizzo can play a goddamn flute because she's trained to play a flute.
Oh yeah.
It'd be one thing if you just handed some rando a flute and said, "Play this," but that's what she does.
As a matter of fact, I'll go so far as to burn your biscuits by saying I think she could kick the guy from Jethro Tull's ass on the flute.
Probably.
I think so. Actually,
so.
He's a lousy flautist. There's a lady on the YouTube, if you're interested, who's a classically trained flautist, and she goes and watches a bunch of videos of things like Jethro Tull and Marshall Tucker Band and stuff like that, and she critiques the flouting, if you will.
Nice.
And she actually says that some of the, I mean, it's probably a stylistic thing, but Ian, whatever the fuck his name is from Jethro Tull, not a terribly good flautist, which is why he's in a fucking classic rock band.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like,
exactly. I mean, I love me some Jethro Tull, but yeah, not exactly.
I could take or leave some fucking Jethro Tull, to be honest.
I like, there's some that I very much like, but not all of it, because it is prog rock with flute. But
yeah,
but all right, so
it's like you took prog rock, made it worse.
All right, so that is our show. We're gonna go eat some fucking pizza.
Let's do that.
That's what we're doing. But we will be back next week. So why don't you take us away?
All right. Bill Has Opinions, engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are his and his alone, except for the ones that they agreed on, in which case they shared them, or vice versa. They don't have anything to do with Radiant Paws, for sure.
I mean, other than she's my best friend and I love her.
Well, hopefully she agreed with some of the stuff, but don't hold her accountable. Anyway, be sure to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, and be sure to hashtag Opinion Gang if you say anything about us. If you send us an email, oh goddamn! If you send us a message, we'll try to address it. By the way, if anybody knows who Bob McBain is, there's a guy in Afghanistan, and I don't mean to make light of this because it might be a real thing, and if it is, I pity the guy. But there's a guy who's currently been messaging me from Afghanistan.
I saw those.
And he's looking for Bob McBain, who he's given me no other basis to search for this fella. Because I guess he's trying to get out of Afghanistan.
Also, I'm pretty sure that that's a scam.
I think it's a scam too, but he keeps going, please, sir, please help me. And it makes me feel sort of sad because I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could help this guy. Because
Except he wants you to wire him money and he's not real.
Well, he hasn't said that yet. He just says, help me find Bob McBain. And McBain just makes me think of the character, the Schwarzenegger character off of The Simpsons.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, be sure that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, if you message me, I will respond to you. I've even responded to this guy who's clearly trying to scam me out of something.
But we're not going to fall for it.
I'm not going to send him any money, but I will try to find Bob McBain if he wants me to, if he provides more information. I'm pretty good at internet searches. So, So,
yeah, send us emails.
Yeah, if you have something you need me to internet research, I'll do it.
Although you should charge for that. To be fair. That's
I really
should. Your job.
It's like a job, yeah.
All right, so it will be back next week.
Yeah.
Our theme next week, we're keeping with the spoopy theme, witches.
Oh.
We're gonna do a witches, like our vampire death match from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a
special guest star Stevie Nicks. Not really, but I mean, it'd be great if she wants to call in. She can.
Sure, yeah. All right, so we're gonna talk witches and next week. So fun witches.
Yeah.
We're not rehashing the same
Man witch.
Man witch. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, folks, we will see you soon. We're going to go eat some pizza.
All right.
Bye, everybody.